Hi, welcome to our next D.A.R.R.E video, Dialogue Authentically About Real Racial Experiences. Sally Bartamioli, white chick.
D. Gardner, black chick.
So today we're going to talk about
Microaggression in the workplace.
Woohoo! So is there anything else that comes to mind in terms of the workplace with microaggressions or code switching?
Well, one of the things I'm thinking about is how oftentimes there are so many things that as a Caucasian or white person do not have to think about.
Right.
They do not have to even, it doesn't even cross their mind.
Right.
And
Like
then,
what?
Well, I'll give an example. When some things come to the surface and someone says, oh, that was racist, oh, that was sexist, oh, that was, discriminating, then they shut down. They avoid that stress. And I'll give an example.
You mean Caucasian?
The Caucasian person.
Okay, so what you're saying now is sometimes if something is spoken casually in the workplace, or maybe not even so casually, maybe in a presentation by a Caucasian person, and someone points out to them that that's racist, they shut down.
They're going to shut down.
Like the Caucasian person will shut down, and you have an example of that.
Yes. There was a training in Indiana. In Indiana, there was a training. This was police force. It was a diversity training, and a female Caucasian was leading. She was teaching the workforce, these officers, and she mentioned some statistics, and she shared statistics for transgender people. And she basically said, let's see if I have the numbers here. I don't have the numbers, but we will put them in the description here, in the notes of this video. She mentioned it was something like 2 or 3 times more. She said transgender African Americans are 2-3 times more likely to be arrested than Caucasians.
Okay, so let me just be sure I understand. So there was a white woman, a white police officer doing a diversity training in Indiana. We'll have the stats posted. And this training, she was talking about how transgender people of color were twice as likely to be arrested as transgender Caucasian people. Is that correct? Okay.
Are you translating for the white people?
What would we call that? What would we call my translating? Well, you're saying they and we and
code
they and
swapping.
Okay. We might, I don't know if we're going to edit this out or not, but.
Okay. So anyway, so that was a male, that was a Caucasian officer, a white man that did not agree with that. And she said her response to him, I think I have a quote here. Her response, which may not have been the
so he
greatest
said,
choice,
no, that doesn't
He said, I
happen.
don't agree with that. That's not, and she said, because of your white male privilege, you would know. That was her response to him. He would know because he was a white man. So basically she was saying, you don't have to worry about this.
And
you
you're
don't
not
encounter
tracking
this.
it.
You would not be. And these are numbers she gave him. These are statistics. And so he complained and said that was, what did they call it? Race. He said that was sexism.
Okay, so I'm slowing down just so I understand. So there was a white officer that said he didn't agree with her statistics. She actually had statistics. Okay, so you can't really disagree with statistics.
And we'll put the source here.
Yeah. So, but he said no, he didn't agree with that. And she said, well, you don't agree with that because you are a man of Caucasian descent. You're a white man. So you don't track that. You have white privilege. You're not paying attention. You're not tracking. You're not scanning for that. And he filed a complaint against her, saying that her comment was sexist. Okay, please tell me this ended well.
She was suspended briefly, and so that takes us into the word white fragility. white fragility. He demonstrated what I was mentioning earlier, shutting down withdrawing.
Something called white
fragility, like fragile.
I had that experience. I think I did that.
Okay. Okay.
But I want you to say more because it's
okay.
reminding me of something that happened recently.
Okay, so white fragility is when a person is a white person is avoiding a stressful situation.
Right.
And so if someone says what's their point, she pointed some statistics out. She pointed a situation out.
And she was the leader.
She was the leader.
She was the presenter. She must have had some credibility.
Yes. She was. I think she was a captain. I believe she was a captain. And so those numbers highlighted that if you're not in a part of this group, then this is a privilege. You have the privilege of not having to even worry about this or deal with this or focus on this. It doesn't impact you.
Yes.
So when we say privilege, we're not necessarily talking about a rich, wealthy person. We're talking about, when we say white privilege, we're talking about there's male privilege.
Right.
There's these small experiences day to day that some groups don't have to.
Right.
It's not even registered. So there's anxiety and there's discomfort in discussing this structural disadvantage.
Yeah, the institutionalized oppression.
Yes. This is the structure of this system. And so basically she was pointing out that there is a structure here and there are people that are disadvantaged as a result of it. And then that means there's a group that is advantaged as a result of it. Anxiety and discomfort is avoided because bringing up certain experiences to the person that is the advantage, it's going to create some discomfort. As a result, the person is going to do something to try to reduce that discomfort. One of the things that happens often is they avoid contacts.
Yes.
So rather than talking about the statistics, the arrest, why are these here, let's explore this, what can we do to make this better, to improve this situation, these statistics, the person decided to avoid that whole context and said, look at what she did to me.
So you want to make one more point.
Yes.
You said you wanted to make one more point, and then something you said really struck me, and I want to get your feedback on that. So what was the last point you want to make?
Well,
about this?
I have some numbers here. White Americans, 76% of the country's millionaires are white Americans. 76% of the United States millionaires are white American. 84% of the professors in colleges are white Americans. 96% of the Fortune 500 CEOs are white Americans. However, whenever statistic information system, systemic racism, or issues with structure comes up that may highlight advantages, disadvantages, sexism, racism, or anything like that, they tend to get defensive when there's that much power. So that's one of the reasons why there's a huge school of thought, a theory that says the people in power cannot be racist. I mean, I'm sorry, the people that do not have the power, because I can be upset and mad and offended. That's all it is. I'm upset, mad, and offended, but it's not going to cause a group to be oppressed.
I remember in the late 80s watching some news channel, and someone was talking about racism, and there was a Caucasian person calling. This was a professor. He was an African American professor from Chicago. I loved him. And some white person was talking about racism, and the African professor said, you can't be racist if you don't have the power.
Yes.
Because racism is a verb, right? And you can't oppress people if you don't have the power to oppress them. So that really struck me. Yeah. So you said something that I think I have experienced. I think I have had this sensitivity, this white fragility. And it happened with a posting I did on Facebook. And there was something in my wording that was inappropriate. I called something overtly racist, and the videotape that it showed with 5 adult male officers, white officers, manhandling a woman who was 65 years old, a woman of color. So I put this tape up, and then I said something about it being a mistake. Listen, we all make mistakes, but this is ridiculous. And there was just this uproar on both sides. And people were saying, this is not a mistake. This is white privilege. This is white supremacy in our racist culture. And then somebody else, said, no, it's not that. And then somebody else started to defend me. And then, it was like days of dealing with this. And I finally just said, I'm taking it down. And I did feel fragile, and I did want the focus to be on me, but I think that white fragility that you were talking about came up. I'm embarrassed about that. I feel shame about that today. And then I spoke with you, and I spoke with another friend of mine, and I saw where, even though I didn't intend to, that I had used inappropriate words. And so I wish I had done that differently, and I've made amends and apologized. And, sometimes learning is painful. So I learned a lot in that experience. So is that an example?
That's an example, yes. And some of the people that saw that video may have also experienced it, though. Some of the people that saw that video and said, oh, here they go again. All the cops aren't like this.
Well,
everybody doesn't do this. And so there we go. So then the problem continues.
Yeah. So it ended up taking so much energy because people were publicly kind of, I think sometimes we get adrenalized, like we're all, in this publicly. And then there were several people privately who were trying to talk to me. What might have been the best thing for me to do? I could have immediately apologized for my use of words and just let it play out, or what might I have done differently rather than after? It was about a week. I finally said, I'm taking this down. I can't take it. I can't take it anymore.
Initially, if I put a charged video, a video that I know is going to bring up some really strong charged emotions, I may not make a comment on it at all. I might just say, what do y'all think about this? And let people just go back and forth. I'm not going to jump in there because I don't want the focus on me. It's the video. That's what's there. And on the other, then looking at it in hindsight, after you post that and then you saw that some people were upset about it, then yes, I would explore, like I said earlier, I explore what is the issue, what are they upset about, what is it that's going on. I see you're upset that I yada yada yada. I could see how you would think that, and just not defend it. If someone's upset about a word you used and they're offended, and I didn't mean it like that, but I do totally can see why you're upset about something like that.
Thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Thank you for bringing it to my attention. I'll be mindful. Just let it go. Yeah. Because someone's upset, it's not necessarily. We want a dialogue. Right. We want to encourage a dialogue. That's all we want is a dialogue. So we want you all to put comments here. And I mentioned to Sally, it would have been great to have those comments on YouTube where we could all comment on them, and we could all have our say and give our opinions and how we feel and ideas about it, because this is really about building bridges. So I don't have to be defensive and defend something that I said. I'll hear you, and I want to hear you, and I want to know what's making you think or say what you think, say, or feel. Right.
Well, I want to thank you for that term, white fragility, because I saw myself in that, and that isn't the issue. And when that feeling comes up, like, oh my gosh, I'm getting attacked, or that's an opportunity for me to really look within and to just thicken my skin and just allow the dialogue to continue. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, and one thing I mentioned to Sally, I said, knowing you, I know you didn't mean, to defend the oppressors or the police. I know you. I know how much you care about this community. However, that wasn't the issue.
Right.
It was not to be about
No,
you at all.
I learned something. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, we're glad you're here. We hope that you'll comment, like, and be in dialogue with us. This is Sally Bartamioli, White Chick, signing out.
D. Gardner, Black Chick.